Welcome to Greater Good Radio Hawaii, where leaders inspire leaders. Greater Good Radio Hawaii is dedicated to social entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Evan Leong, and with me is my co-host, Carrie Leong.
Mahalo, Evan. Today's guest is Mike Fitzgerald, President and CEO of Enterprise Honolulu, a nonprofit economic development organization funded by Oahu's private sector. Mike has played an integral part in helping to boost Hawaii's economy and creating jobs for locals. Please welcome to Greater Good Radio, Mike Fitzgerald. Welcome to our show, Mike.
Hello. I'm delighted to be here. Nice to see you all.
Are you able to tell us a little bit more about Enterprise Honolulu?
Sure, I would be delighted to. Enterprise Honolulu is a private, nonprofit economic development organization. We have about 100 companies that contribute to us annually, and that's where our funding comes from. We have about $1.5 million budget a year, about 10 staff people, and our focus is diversifying Hawaii's economy, particularly focusing on the technology sectors, of which there are about 9 now, 7 or 9, depending on how you lump those together, and growing those businesses that are here, helping new entrepreneurs get started, as well as attracting targeted ones from the mainland, businesses that that are on the mainland now that either have a technology strategic alliance potential here, can serve a market that is not being served, or needs to be here because they're trying to serve Asia. That's the target. And we focus trying as every way that's possible to provide the jobs first choice for ones that are already here, Hawaiian citizens that are already here, young people often, and the Kamahina network offshore get first shot at all of the jobs. If they can possibly take them, then we go beyond to recruit.
So what are some success stories coming from Enterprise Honolulu that we may not have heard of?
Well, probably you've heard of most all the, we're working with all of the ones that are visible now, like Hawaii Biotech, biocellular engineering, Hoku Scientific, Tissue Genesis. There's about a dozen in that category that are really potentially world-class businesses. All those businesses are potentially billion-dollar companies. And they all now, Oceanit, Scientific, those companies have products or services that they sell by and large outside of Hawaii. So they're immediately export businesses, which brings new wealth back in. They're not dependent upon the local economy, which strengthens them. And they're paying high wages. The average wage in these companies is $50,000 or above. Many of them are much bigger than that. I would say companies that you might not have heard of that are very, very successful are Pacific Light Network, which is an alternative telecom company here, alternative to the big guys. It's throughout the islands. They license almost all of the fiber network, so they're way bigger they're not a tiny company, and they're really entrepreneurial, so they try to provide the best deal to entrepreneurs. They're not a big institutional company. That's one that is very, very much of a big success. The one that we are most excited about going forward is the Hawaii Super Ferry, which isn't a high-tech company, although this ferry is very much high-tech. It looks like kind of the Starship Enterprise. It's as big as a football field. It will start off serving the Big Island and Maui. It can take 200 cars, 1,000 passengers, and it will, for the first time ever in the state's history, net together these islands, which has very significant economic implications. It's going to lower the price of cargo. It's going to lower the price of passenger service. And it will have all kinds of both economic, political, and social implications, because families and people can go visit easy, just drive their van on, bring their family, their dog, all the children. It's going to affect Hawaii in a very profound way, but at the bottom line, it's going to basically lower the cost of living in Hawaii, because it's going to easily and more quickly and more cheaply transport people, cargo, building materials, food, everything between the islands, and it'll eventually extend to the other islands. So those are just some kind of the exciting projects that are going on here.
That's exciting. Are you the one that brought Enterprise Honolulu to Hawaii?
No. Enterprise Honolulu is a metamorphosis, or evolved out of the Hawaii Economic Development Organization, which has been here for probably 20 years. But during the 80s and really in the first part of the 90s, it had kind of become dormant because the economy was doing so good here. But then when the economy leveled off in 91, starting with the Gulf War, and really started to decline, a group of both members that were already on the board of the Hawaii Economic Development Board and others came together and said, we need to do something to revitalize the economy. We must be focusing on what they termed at that time a third pillar. In addition to military and the tourism, we need to focus on diversification, and that should be technology. They banded themselves together, and that's the evolution of that was really the genesis of Enterprise Honolulu.
How did you get involved with this organization? Are you from here?
No, it's a very zigzag operation here. I was at the time, I'm from Montana. At the time, I'd been working in Seattle for quite a long time, and I just finished up being director of Department of Commerce for the state of Washington from 93 to 97. And I had just ended that term because the governor ended his term. And I was starting to put my own private consultancy back in business, and I got a call from a new organization called Enterprise Florida. Florida was the first state that privatized its State Department of Commerce. And they were putting this together and asked me if I would come help them work on a contract to put this together. So I had just agreed to go, and I just got there in September, and I got a call out of the blue from the Oahu Economic Development Board saying, here, we're putting this back together. Hawaii's in bad shape. We've lost 100,000 people here in the last whatever period of time. Businesses are struggling. Can you help? Somebody gave us your name. So I just started pro bono working with them from afar, doing teleconferences, sending them information, putting them onto what I thought were best practices, people and organizations around the U.S. and the world, and did that for 2 or 3 years. And then in 2002, they decided they wanted to hire somebody full-time, and that's how I got here. And I started in January 2002.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for more on Greater Good Radio.